Okay, and going through that, that's what we do. I've been doing that for about 3 years.
Okay.
So.
So you work at the Journal Sentinel to kind of review.
Yep.
Okay, great. So what? Can you mind sharing what your income is on a year to year basis there?
Well, I make about $40,000 a year.
Okay. Good.
So,
okay.
Now with all my loans and paid off,
Yeah.
one of the, I figured out somewhere between $300 to $400.
That's what
I can comfortably be okay with setting aside for stuff like that, for what we're talking about.
Okay, and that's a good number. I'll keep that in mind as we're trying to kind of pick some of this stuff out. So get back to it. Okay, so you're working at the Journal Sentinel right now. In the afternoon, or do you have any family that you're hanging out with? Like, what do you do in your personal life? Anything special that we would want to take into account, or just normal 25-year-old stuff?
Well, I like playing golf, and I'm on the curling team.
Oh, wow.
So I like doing sports and that stuff.
Okay.
Kind of important people in my life. It's just me right now. I have a niece, which is the only person that only family member left that I stay in contact with.
Oh, wow.
Due to some other family history issues.
Sure.
But, if something were to happen to me, I'd want her to be okay.
Okay. So getting into it, we got, not a ton of family ties, but we definitely have that niece who's a special person in your life, working at the Journal Sentinel, making about $40,000 a year. You like to curl, which, again, that's a man of my heart. Curling is a cool sport that I don't think gets enough interest. So that, that's a lot to it. Now, so follow me here while we're trying to build these buckets out, okay? So if we want, we can generalize it for the time being, since this is just our first meeting. But if we're going to look at, if we're going to start looking at a short-term, medium-term, and long-term, is it okay if I try to present a plan to you that might be something, and we can start trying to build those buckets out? Is that something we can do today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just like to double check, make sure I'm not crossing any boundaries there. But okay, so short term wise, so what if I could say in a year, is there any major changes you'd like to have in your life that would be financial implications on them?
Not within the next year.
Okay.
I mean, kind of my goals are within the next 2 to 3 years. I'd like to own a new car.
Okay.
And my apartment is a little small.
Yeah.
So I'd like to upgrade the apartment.
Okay. So
sometime within the next 1 to 3 years.
Okay. Yeah, and I think, and we can, for these purposes, let's make that our short term then. 1 to 3 years. I think that in the grand scheme of things, that's definitely still short term. So okay, so we're good there. Medium term. I know that's, for a lot of people, that's kind of the hardest one to kind of come up with anything, because maybe we're talking about like that 10-year range. In 10 years. Any specific stuff you'd want? Maybe if career-wise, would you be looking to maybe make advancements career-wise? Any goals in your career that might come across in 10 years? How about, or what if we just stretch that to 15 years?
Well, I would like to own my own consulting firm for digital media.
Okay.
That's kind of my long-term overall goal.
Wow. Okay. Cool. So and then long term, that's basically everyone's the same. Retire, right? I mean, that's everyone's long-term goal. Retire comfortably, so we can kind of have that bucket already have a label on it. So to review, because I like to try to do that and make sure we're on par with our same goals. Short-term being that between now and 5 years, maybe we get a new car, maybe we upgrade apartments. Fantastic. And then medium term, that sort of that between that 5 to 15 years, so like the next sort of 8 to 10 year gap, maybe we open our own consulting firm, and then obviously retiring, we'll shift towards there. So okay, so with all of those things in mind, I would say, what does a lot of people, for the easiest one, a lot of times, actually, believe it or not, might be that long-term bucket, and that's because it's sometimes at this point like the easiest thing to do. Is maybe even just like if you're making sure your money is getting the best bang for your buck. Does your company have any match to like a 401k? Are you contributing to a 401k or anything like that?
I'm currently not. I know that's probably bad on my half. but I know that they do some 401k at the Journal Sentinel, but I don't know.
Okay.
What that percentage is.
You don't know. Okay. Well, we should look into that. I know that I had somebody in past, actually have someone who works at the Journal. It was like 3% roughly. So, we don't know, right? I think in general, some pretty fair advice from me would be if you have the money, let's maximize that contribution, because otherwise it's just money that could be going into your retirement that is not going anywhere. So I say we max whatever it is, assuming maybe it's 3%. Okay, so that will be maybe just our start to the long-term one, and they can kind of compile on each other. If we're looking at that, thus working backwards, a medium-term one. That would be setting up for like your consulting firm, right? And maybe just making sure that your niece is taken care of in any terms. So one of the ways that maybe we could look at that is if we did like a life insurance program. So you can make sure that your money is going into that. If we took some of that $300 or $400, if we took I'm sure I could probably find you a pretty fair plan for like $100 a month to make sure that you're saving this money, you're protecting yourself, and then also you're protecting your loved ones. So maybe that would be something that we can put into that medium-term bucket. And then short-term, sometimes we could just, if we just set out and we start investing in sort of a general portfolio, if we take like another $200 of that money and we invest it either just through savings with bonds and stocks and things like that, maybe that's going to give us some long-term money, but also a little bit of short-term money so that we can buy that car and buy that and upgrade that apartment. So that would be, I'd like to have an actual formal plan for you. I'd like to get back to my office and find out that exact percentage and find out these exact numbers. But in general, that would be kind of my basic outline to you.
That sounds perfect. I mean, I really like the idea of the match 401k. I know that was something I was thinking about doing anyway.
Yeah.
But all the other things, are spot on, are perfect. I can totally understand where you're coming from.
Okay. So, all right. Well, okay. So, like I said, let me get back to my office. I'll draw up the actual paperwork, and we'll chat over the phone maybe to get exact numbers. But this is something you'd want to move forward with. You'd like to go and kind of work in with Northwest Mutual to try to put this plan into action.
Absolutely. Okay. I think this is spot on.
That's awesome, man. So, and I think and I'm glad you feel so enthused about it even after this short conversation. I think you'll be even more enthused once I get the hardline numbers. I at the Journal Sentinel, I know they kind of like to get people right out of college because that's when you guys have all the free thoughts. Do you have any coworkers coming right out of school and a similar, you guys chat any similar situations? Anybody you might know who is kind of in the same boat as you that you could, maybe personally just share some of this information to, or share my information if you thought they'd benefit from hearing some of this stuff as well?
Yeah, there are two people. I think it's James and Michael.
Okay.
Both of those two I can send your information off to. But I really like how you set this up. I think this is something we could really work with.
Awesome. Well, okay. So send me their information. I appreciate that. And what's cool about the scenario is I know they will appreciate it too. You know what I mean? And so that's our goal at Northwest
Absolutely.
Mutual is to make this a team effort to help you, because otherwise nobody wins. So, well, that's cool, Matt. I'll put this paperwork together and maybe I'll send it over the weekend or something.
Good deal. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.